Congress reconvenes tomorrow with much to do and little time to do it. In fact, we're talking about just 9 working days for lawmakers to find some common ground on some major issues like funding the government. But that will no doubt be a challenge, as some Republicans suggest threatening a government shutdown to block funding on President Obama's immigration plan. The Fox News political insiders are back. Pat Caddell, Doug Schoen, and Brad Blakeman. So, Doug, do you think that the Republicans would go through with that?
Boy, I hope not, and I don't really think they will, Heather. I think they learned their lesson last time when they shut the government down, that all that happens is it turns people against them. That being said, I think we know how heartfelt and strong passions are inside the Republican caucus in both the Senate and the House against the immigration plan. What I think we're likely to get is more dysfunction, more gridlock, and nothing really getting done.
And, Brad, we do know that they have plans right now. They've already announced to talk about immigration. Tuesday, the House Judiciary Committee has said that they're holding hearings on what they're calling the president's power grab. And then on Wednesday, the very next day, the House Homeland Security Committee will hold more hearings on border security. So what do you expect to come out of that? And will it be related to the plans that they make in terms of the budget?
Well, I think everything right now that the Republicans are thinking about is getting us through the end of the year. We only have a few more days legislatively, and then they're going to take their holiday. The American people are going to know who's naughty and nice. Republicans need to be strategic. They need to play chess instead of Russian roulette like they did last year. And if they do it, get a spending bill that puts the president on a short leash. We have a new government being formed the first week of January, new Senate. Give them the opportunity, along with a House and a president, to work together in good faith. And if they do that, then the new year will be very good for Republicans and Democrats. If they start playing shenanigans in the last few days of the legislative session, it's not going to be good for either party.
So you're talking about a short-term CR, continuing resolution, versus a long-term one. Pat, what do you think?
Well, I think the question is, they got to get through the end of the year, and I agree with my colleagues about them being strategic. The problem you have to worry about these Republicans, though, is that they will just flat out surrender, which is what they have done in the past, except when Ted Cruz led them off the cliff. The problem is the president is breaking the law, and now we find out there are going to be Social Security benefits and Medicare for the illegal immigrants who have been granted this status and work, which is against the actual statute of the law. And the question is whether the Republicans are prepared to lay the groundwork between now and, say, February to take the president on an issue in which the president is on the wrong side of public opinion. So far, what the Republicans have shown on this issue, on foreign policy and everything, is that nothing is going to work. And to Brad's point, that's a quick, I agree with you. It's a nice Christmas wish. And Santa Claus is not going to bring comedy between these people. Barack Obama has busted that already.
Yeah.
He has already torn the country apart. That's all he's interested in, whether it's Ferguson, immigration, or whatever, is to divide America, and he has set his course. Now the question is, can the Republicans find smart backbone and to turn the country and much of the Democrats again?
Those are some strong words, but I want to go back to what you mentioned in terms of what we did not know about the executive order that he issued over the illegal immigrants, and they could now receive Social Security, Medicare as well, something that we did not know. And for a lot of people, it kind of rings like Obamacare, where little pieces start coming out, things that we did not know. And what do you think Republicans can do about that? Is there anything that they can do?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear, Heather. What they ought to do is pass an immigration bill, send it to the president, and say, stop the brinksmanship. Let's pass a bill. Let's get something done. Let's bargain constructively.
But then the president's not going to sign that.
Heather, we live in a democracy. You can't just not pass bills because you don't think the president will sign it. I worked with President Clinton. We got deals done with Newt Gingrich and a Republican Congress. I really think the Republicans have to change their approach, and certainly the Democrats as well. We really can't live the way we are and be the greatest nation in the world.
All right. So, Brad, final comment about this.
On immigration, I think that both the House and the Senate should look at incremental bills, no more 3,000-page omnibus bills. Carve up the immigration bills into taxation, pathway to citizenship, visas, health care, and that's what you need to do, is farm them out to the relevant committees, let them have at it in hearings, give the president then 5 immigration bills and not one large bill that nobody reads and will be jammed through.
Well, that's what they said they were going to do.
Well,
piecemeal approach is what they said they wanted to do to begin with. Go ahead, Pat.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes.
The one thing that has to happen, and we will find out whether the Republican leadership, remember, the unholy alliance on immigration, the reason we never get immigration is because the unions and the Chamber of Commerce want open borders. The real question is, are the Republican leadership, much of whom are indebted to the Chamber of Commerce, are they going to pass a spending bill lasting for the rest of the fiscal year, or are they going to do a short one? That's the first test of whether there's going to be a real battle or whether we're just going to have another laydown by the Republicans.
So speaking of a battle, let's move on to Obamacare. Leading Democrat Chuck Schumer and what he had to say about it, said that perhaps they made a big mistake there. Let's listen.
Democrats blew the opportunity the American people gave them. We took their mandate and put all of our focus on the wrong problem. Health care reform. Now, the plight of uninsured Americans and the hardships caused by unfair insurance company practices certainly needed to be addressed. But it wasn't the change we were hired to make.
All right. Nancy Pelosi came out in response to that. She said that there are 14 million reasons that they did do the right thing. I'm paraphrasing her quote, of course, but she's referencing those numbers being 14 million people, she says, who now have health care coverage as a result. Is this a signal that there are going to be some problems within the Democratic Party as we move forward towards 2016? Doug?
Heather, absolutely, yes. Chuck Schumer has been a down-the-line loyalist for the administration until now. In fact, he had criticized Pat and I for having the temerity to attack the president. And basically, he said politically that Obamacare attacked the wrong problem. He didn't speak about substance. He didn't speak about what ought to be done. He was talking narrow political tactics. Chuck Schumer is a consummate political insider. He wouldn't have done this if his colleagues were not moving away rapidly from the president, given the very bad election results. So, Heather, this to me is a harbinger of what's going to come and will probably lead to an every man, every woman for themselves approach that will make a divided Democratic Party even more dysfunctional.
Very interesting, and something that perhaps happened to Republicans in prior years. Brad?
Well, let me tell you something. Schumer is the Gruber of the Senate. He must think we're stupid. He was a leader who jammed through Obamacare. He knew, or should have known, that the basis and the foundation of Obamacare were lies. You couldn't keep your doctor. You weren't going to have any savings. And Schumer, it's not about timing that we mistimed Obamacare. It's about fraud and deceit in bringing Obamacare to the American people under the shadow of a omnibus 3,000-page bill that nobody read and that was jammed through without any transparency at all.
Yeah, without reading it. Okay, so Pat, you have the final word just quickly.
Well, I'll tell you this. What will happen is what Schumer has done is exposed what the hypocrisy of Washington is. He didn't care about people in the middle class, as he said. He cared because it blew up politically. But the Democrats are fracturing. They've already got 5 senators who agree with the Republicans against the immigration bill. The problem is they better take care of their real voters. And so far, they have deserted them.
And that's what they care about, the votes. All right.
They care about nothing but politics. They don't care about the country. None of them do.
You can continue after this break.